to the Brunswick Golden Isles Airport, managed by the Glynn County Airport Commission. We're here for the basically the Hurricane Awareness Tour, and I'm going to let Jay take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Tara. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jay Wiggins, and I'm the director of the Glynn County Emergency Management Homeland Security Agency. And we've been very fortunate here in the Golden Isles today because we've been visited by the National Weather Service and NOAA, and they have brought their P-3 Orion and their C-130 Hurricane Hunter airplanes here. We've been here since 9 o'clock this morning. It's been a beautiful day, a little warm, but we've had a lot of fun. Had about 400 local school kids, 4th and 5th graders, come through and ask a lot of interesting questions. And we look at this as a teachable moment. This is a time, June 1st is coming right up, hurricane season, first day of hurricane season. So what better way to kick it off than to have the guys that fly into those storms and send back data for us to make decisions from come here in our community. Now, not only do we have the hurricane hunters, but we've also got a lot of our local public safety, law enforcement and fire. Some of our state partners and federal partners are here, and it's been a great day. We hope everybody will come out and visit with us. From 2 o'clock until 5 o'clock, it is open to the public, and we just want people to understand that hurricane season's coming and you need to be prepared. I'm going to let Alec Eaton, our EMA specialist, talk to you a little bit about being prepared.
Thank you, Jay. One of our big things we want to get everyone aware of is finding the best trusted source, and that's coming from EMA. With our trusted partners, we want to make sure we get the best information out. And we get our information from NOAA National Weather Service, mostly out of National Weather Service out of Jacksonville. So this season coming up, even though it's predicted to be a lower hurricane season activity level, we just got to remember it only takes one storm for us to be affected. And when we get affected, it could take up to a year before we get back on track. So we want to make sure everyone has their plans ready, their disaster kits ready to go in their cars in case of an event that we might need to evacuate this year. And if you guys don't know what that checklist is, check us out on Facebook. Go to glyncounty.org. Under Emergency Management Department, we have several checklists that everyone can go and see. And if there's any time you need to reach out to us, feel free to reach out to our Glynn County page, and we'd be more than happy to come out and talk to you and help educate everyone on what they need to do to be disaster ready.
Hi, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Ragusa, Chief Pilot for the Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunters, and we're out here today showing off our airplane. It's a WC-130J Hurricane Hunter, one of only 12 airplanes in the world allowed to fly into hurricanes. Come on board, I'll show you a few things and talk to you about how we do it. We take a minimum crew of 5, and we fly as low as safety will allow us into the hurricane to gather information for the National Hurricane Center. We stay as low as we can, and even still drop instruments beneath the airplane in order to get information from as low as we can. As we move through the airplane, you can tell it was designed as a combat cargo airlifter. However, for these 10 airplanes, all we do is use them for hurricane hunting. I mentioned we need to get down below the airplane and gather more information. That's where we use this instrument right here. This is our cannon. We fire these dropsons out of our cannon. The whole time they fall down to the surface of the water, they're transmitting information back to the airplane. They send us a stream of text 2 times every second. We're gathering that information at this console here behind me to my left. Once we know it's all good information, we'll email it to the console on my right. This is where our meteorologist sits. You can see here a sheet of paper, and it gives you the name and date of every hurricane that this particular airplane, tail number 5304, has flown through in its life. This aircraft was built in 1997, and it's been flying hurricanes since 2004. Additionally, we have 3 crew members up in the flight deck, 2 pilots and a navigator, and that minimum crew of 5 stays out in the hurricane for 6 hours at a time. Typical mission lasts up to about 12 hours or so, 3 hours to the storm, 6 hours in the storm, and 3 hours back home. We're happy to do it as long as you folks go ahead and heed all those warnings and be prepared when it comes through. Thanks for joining us on board the WC-130J.
My name is Commander Chris Sloan. That's spelled C-H-R-I-S-S-L-O-A-N. I'm a NOAA Corps commissioned officer. I've been in the NOAA Corps since 2009. I came over to the NOAA Corps from the Navy flying the same aircraft. In the Navy, it was designated as a P3, and it was used for a much different purpose. Our P3 is designated as a WP3D. Came off the Lockheed Burbank line in 1975, this particular aircraft, specifically for NOAA and for the weather research mission. This aircraft is quite different from the Navy version and from the Air Force Hurricane Hunter version, with a myriad of different sensors. So if you look up the aircraft, you'll see there's a black radome up in the very front. That black, we call it an M&M, contains our lower fuselage radar. That lower fuselage radar paints a 2D picture of the storm as we're flying through it. Just to the left of the black M&M, you actually see a pylon hanging down, and that's called a step frequency microwave radiometer. Us in the Air Force, or NOAA in the Air Force, have that in common. That measures wind speed at the surface from altitude, and that's one of our required instruments to be hurricane ready for the hurricane season. Back, if you move a little bit further back, we have drop chutes in the back. So those drop chutes, we drop BT buoys, which are bathythermograph buoys. That measures sea surface temperature and gives us a temperature profile down through the column of water. We can also carry a myriad of other expendable sensors, current probes, salinity probes, conductivity probes, and those are used during our loop current flights and our ocean heat content research flights ahead of storms and after storms. Just aft of the drop chutes are two blisters on the back of the aircraft. Those are research instruments. They're scatterometers. They're part of an IRAP project. The IRAP is Integrated Wind and Rain Project. This is a UMass project that also remotely measures wind speed at the surface from altitude. These sensors resemble very closely the sensors that go up in a meteorological satellite. And so they use that to compare the data from the meteorological satellite to the real world in situ data that we are flying with the aircraft. If you go a little bit further aft, our main research radar is the tail Doppler radar. It's a large stinger. People routinely mistake it for a mad boom, the P3 version, but it is no farther from the truth. Inside there is a set of radar plates that scan in the longitudinal axis of the aircraft. So they scan around the longitudinal axis. One scans forward, one scans aft. Everywhere where those two radar beams cross, we get Doppler data, but we also get reflectivity data. With the tail Doppler radar, the lower fuselage radar, and our other sensors, we make a 3D model of the storm as we go through. A lot of this lies in the research realm, but lately the National Hurricane Center, CARCA, and the Environmental Modeling Center have been using these to make the models better, and they've been using it operationally to improve the hurricane track forecast and intensity. If you look at the side of the airplane, you'll see numerous flags and numerous hurricane symbols. I think there's about 107 hurricane symbols on the side of the aircraft. That is every storm, named storm, that this aircraft in particular has flown through. And the flags are every country that we've operated from. And that's not just getting gas or stopping to get food or a bathroom break. Those flags are actually, we operate 4, 6, 8, 12 weeks in an area on particular projects. Now, those flags aren't all hurricane missions. Some of those flags are missions that we operate on different projects.
My name is Andrew Shashi from the National Weather Service in Jacksonville. We're here to talk about hurricane preparedness here at this Hurricane Awareness Tour. Here in our presentation, we have information about the threats from hurricanes, including storm surge, rainfall, flooding, wind hazards, as well as tornadoes. Now, this area of southeast Georgia is very prone to storm surge flooding. It's one of the highest major hazards in a hurricane is this particular area because of the coastal plain, the way it's so flat. Rainfall and storm surge can produce devastating flooding and storm surge in this area. So that's one of the key hazards in this area. In fact, over much of the country, storm surge is pretty much the number one hazard with hurricanes. As well as rainfall, flooding comes in second. Rainfall is going back to Hurricane Harvey in Texas, produced very heavy rainfall, upwards of 3 and 4 feet, and even more rainfall flooding in Texas, so severe flooding with that particular hurricane. So it's not just the category of the hurricane, that's also what comes with it. The rainfall, the storm surge, the wind, and occasionally tornadoes happen in hurricanes. So people need to be aware about the hurricane hazards, be prepared this hurricane season, which starts June 1st, continues through November 30th, to have a plan for your family, to be prepared when the next hurricane or even tropical storm threatens this area, to have enough supplies on hand, including non-perishable foods, batteries for your radio, and make sure you have enough cash on hand in case you need to put gas in your car, to move to a different location that's in a safer place from hurricanes.
Thanks, y'all. Have a safe and prepared hurricane season.
Have a good one.